Hello, Year 4. Our second lesson this week is around days, weeks, months, and years, and how to convert between them and some of the errors that people make along those sorts of lines. And we'll have a look at this and see what we can find out. So, the first thing that we need to work out is what our key information is. Hopefully, all of you are aware that within a week there are 7 days. That's our first key part of information, and then it links in with a lot of other bits and pieces we need to know. The other piece of information we know is that there are 365 days in 1 year. Now, this is our key information, so I want you to use that to start with. You'll only need the first one in order to answer these 4 questions, and then we'll move on from there. Pause now and have a go. Hopefully you've all had a go at trying these using the key information we have, and I'm going to talk through why this is only the key information that I've given you, not anything more. We'll talk about that in a minute. So first off, there are how many days in 2 weeks? So if we've got 2 weeks, we need 2 lots of 7 days, and so we times 7 by 2 and have 14. Then it asks us there are how many weeks in 28 days? So what we're doing is we're doing the opposite. How many 7s can I fit into 28? So I divide 28 by 7. So 28 divided by 7 is 4. Then it says there are how many weeks and how many days in 43 days. Now we have to think about this quite interestingly because it's not completely divisible by 7. So we have to think about the most we can fit in our 7 times table and then how many we have left over. So it's like our division that we've done before. Take away all that you can, and whatever you're remaining with is how many days you're left over with. So in our 7 times table, we can get up to 42, and 42 is 6 times 7. So we have 6 weeks. Difference between 42 and 43 is 1. So there are 6 weeks and 1 day in 43 days. We don't need this S. Then it says there are how many weeks and how many days in 92 days. So once again, we have to think about how many 7s we can fit into 92 and how many would be left over. So the first thing we do is okay, I know that 10 lots of 7 is 70. That fits into 92, so I can definitely have 10. Then I'm looking at how many I have left over. From 70 to 92 is 22. 22 divided by 7 allows me to have 3, because that's 21, with 1 left over. So our answer would be 13 weeks and 1 day is 92 days. One other thing we can note at this stage is why I haven't given you any other key information than 7 days equals 1 week and 365 days equals a year. And that's because it isn't perfect otherwise. We've said here, if we look at this question B, we can see that 4 weeks are 28 days. A lot of people say that a month is 4 weeks long. Well, that simply can't be true because some of our months are 30 or 31 days long. In fact, only one of our months is 4 weeks long, and that's only when it's not a leap year, and that's February. So although people say it's 4 weeks, it is roughly 4 weeks. It isn't exactly 4 weeks. The same goes for how many weeks in a year. Now, there are 52 weeks in a year, and that is what people state, but actually it's slightly over 52 weeks in a year. So it's roughly 52, not exactly 52, which is why we haven't got that information down at the moment as key information. Okay, so next, another quick table just to check our understanding here. Conversion between number of weeks, number of days. We have number of weeks in this column over here, number of days in this column here. How many weeks is it? How many days would that be? Use the key information you've got here. Complete this table and we'll come back with the answers. Pause now. So let's have a look. We know that in 1 week there are 7 days. So our conversion from weeks to days, if we're doing it this way, from weeks to days, we are going to be timesing by 7. If we're going from number of days to number of weeks, we are going to be dividing by 7. And that's all comes from this 7 days in 1 week. And that's the best way to think about it. So if we've got the number of weeks, we can times it by 7 to get the number of days. So 6 times 7, because that's what we're doing. 6 times 7 is 42. So 6 weeks is 42 days. We'll go down to the other one we have in this side. We have a number of weeks. So we're going to times it by 7. And that will give us how many days? 11 times 7 is 77. So in 11 weeks, there are 77 days. Going the other way, here we have how many days. So we need to divide by 7 to find out how many weeks. 35 divided by 7. Think back to our times tables. We go through our times tables and we know that 5 times 7 equals 35. So 35 divided by 7 must be 5. The same down here, we have the number of days. We don't have the number of weeks, so we're dividing by 7. We've got 63. We're going back to the number of weeks. We're dividing by 7. Think about our times tables. We know that 9 times 7 is 63. So 63 divided by 7 would be 9. So we're going to go through these next questions. You're going to have a go, but I'm going to point you out to one thing I've added in here, which is another piece of information that we can use. And that's this bit here. I've added in the amount of months there are in a year. So there are 12 months in 1 year. That means that there must be 365 days in 12 months. This is a new piece of information. You should be aware of it. You know how many months there are, but it's just making that link and putting it into our key information. Then you can use that information to help you answer the questions that we've got down below. We've got Scott being 87 months old, Summer is 7 years and 4 months old. Who is the oldest? How do you know? And the same for B. Lucia is 7 years and 10 months old. Faz is 89 months old. Who will reach the 108th month old first? And how do you know? Have a go and come back in a second. Pause now. So there's 2 ways of doing these questions, and you could either convert all of it to 2 months, or you can do the opposite and convert it to 2 years and months. And it really depends on what you find easiest to compare. One of these I would do one way, the other I would do the other, just because it helps me think about where I'm going with it. The first one, I'm just looking at who's oldest. So I would probably convert it into years and months rather than looking the other way. So then I'm looking in my 12 times table and I'm thinking, how many 12s can I fit into 87? And you run through your 12 times table. We know that 5 times 12 is 60. I know that 24 is 2 times 12. Can I do 60 and 24? Yes, that's 84. That's 7 times 12. So there must be 7 years. And then how many months left over? It's the difference between 84 and 87, which is 3 months. So you can see straight away that the oldest person is Summer. She is older by 1 month. And we know that because we've converted 87 months into years and months. Conversely, if we're looking at B, because we're trying to find out who will reach 108 months old first, actually it's better for us to convert it into months rather than converting it into years and months. So we can leave Faz and his 89 months old, we can leave that as is. We look in the next one, we've got 7 years and 10 months. 10 months we leave, we're going to add it on to the 7 years. 7 years, 7 times 12 is 84. So we've got 84 months plus those 10 months. So in total, Lucia is 94 months old. That means which one is closer, 89 or 94 to 108? And it is Lucia. So she is closer to reaching that. She will reach it first, which that is our reason why, because we can convert from years to months. So here are your questions for this lesson. As I've said before, I didn't tell you that what the months were and how many days there were in the month. And the reason for that is that it is different for each month. So either you know it and you can place them into the right months in question one, or go away and find out. Maybe ask your parents if they know a rhyme that helps them remember. I'm sure that's how I remember. There is also a trick with your fingers, and maybe they could teach you that too. And then have a go at the others, post your answers onto Tapestry, and we'll have a look when you come back. See you in the next lesson.